All right, so moving along with our Dieline, it's starting to really take shape. There's really three more elements that we need to create. We need our register marks, our impression targets, and we also need our cut lines. So let's start with our register marks. So again, I'm going to get my line segment tool, and I'm going to come over to my document, and we're going to make these a specific size. So I'm just going to click on my document once, and the length is going to be a 1/4 of an inch. So 0.25. All right, so 1/4 of an inch is 0.25 inch, and then the angle that we want is that we want it horizontal. So I'm going to put in 90, or I'm sorry, and just put in 0. 0 will give us a horizontal line. Okay, so I hit OK, and it draws it. Now, right now, the color is white at one point. We are going to go change the color. Can you guess what color it's going to be? It's a register mark, so it's going to be registration color. There it is. All right, so now I need another one. I need a vertical one. So I'm going to come over to my document, and again, I'm just going to click, and I still wanted a 1/4 of an inch. This time, the angle will be 90, and I hit OK, and there it is. So now I have the two components of my my register marks. So what I want is I want the cross to be lined up very nicely with each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of move it right there, and that actually probably works because of the smart guides that are used in Illustrator. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset it just to make sure so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to select both of those lines. I select both of them, and again we're going to go up to our align functions in the control bar, and the first one, now when we do this, probably the best thing to do is align to selection, and I'm going to do a horizontal align center and a vertical align center. Now they're lined up perfectly on top of each other, they're both selected, and we are then going to group those together. So again, object, group. Got that going, and that looks good. So now we got the top one done. Now we need that bottom register mark, right? Well, I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna copy it down. There's a couple different ways of copying things, and one of the ways that I like to use is by holding Option on the keyboard. So holding Option on the keyboard will make a copy. Notice that whenever I get over an object and I hold Option, that I've got this like little double cursor. So if I click and I drag down, it's going to make a copy for me. But also, if I hold Shift, it'll keep it aligned to the other one as well. So I just drag it down to the bottom, holding Shift and Option. I release on my mouse first, then my keyboard, and now I have this, and they're already aligned to each other. Now, one of the things that I want to do too is I want to make that bottom one look a little bit different. So I'm going to go add a circle around it. So I'm going to go over to my shape tools, choose the ellipse tool, come over, somewhere near the crosshair will be fine. And I'm just going to click once with that ellipse tool, click on the document once. Brings up my dialog box. I want it to be a 1/4 of an inch, so 0.25 by 0.25. Hit OK. There it is. I'm now going to align it. So I'm going to select all three shapes, the two lines and the circle, and this time I'm going to align it. I'm going to do it in a slightly different way, and it's kind of a neat feature, and it's a nice align feature to get used to. It can be very helpful. It's like, so I know that the crosshair is already aligned with the one on the top. If I go and I select, I'm just going to click that area one more time. So I'm going to click that one more time. So now you see how that grouped mark, it now has like blue all over it, and that indicates that it's a key object. So now whenever I align, it's going to align to that object. So again, I'm going to do a horizontal align center, and then I'm going to do a vertical align center, and now it's aligned to each other, and it's still aligned to this one. So we're going to group that, object group, or keyboard shortcut Command G, you can use as well. So then they group. So now I've got my top and bottom register marks made. So very easy and worked well. Okay, so now what you're going to do is that you're going to start making your impression targets. So we're going to make our impression targets using our ellipse tool. I'm going to come over to my document and I'm going to click once, and this is the shape, the size that I want it to be. I want it to be 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Hit OK, and it makes it. So that's the outer ring of the impression target. I'm now going to make the smaller inner ring, and the way I'll do that is I'll just come over here and I'll click, and this one we're going to make 0.05 inch, 0.05 inch, and it makes this a little circle. I'll actually zoom in so we can see a little bit better. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to select both objects, the small one and the big one, but nothing else, and I want to align them to each other. So horizontal line center, vertical line center, voila. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to blend it. We're going to use a function in Illustrator called blend, and it's going to go and create the other lines for us. So I have it selected, object, blend options, we're going to go to next. And you have a bunch of options here. We're going to go to specified steps, and we're going to do the number of specified steps, I believe, is 3. I'll hit OK. And what that means is that it'll put 3 lines in between these two. And then I go to object, blend, make. And here we go. Now I've got my impression target. Now the colors of your impression targets should match the color in your artwork. So for our first project, we're just going to have one color. So if it's defaulted to registration color, that's fine. It's fine if it's registration color, but if it's not, you can always go and you can change it to black if you wanted to. So I've got that. So now I've got my blend, and I want one near this register mark as well. So again, I'm going to use that copy function that I used previously, where I held Shift and Option, drug it down to where I wanted it, release the mouse, then release the keyboard, and now I have that. All right, so we've got the impression targets and the register marks complete for the left side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these. I'm going to select all 4 of those, and then I'm going to copy them over to the other side. So again, I'm going to use that. I'm going to start dragging it. I hold Shift, hold Option, come over to the other side, and kind of get it near the bare bar, and then I release my mouse, then I release the keyboard, and there we go. I'm going to nudge these just a little bit closer to the bare bar, and I just selected them and just use my arrow keys on my keyboard. So the thing that is super important with all this when it comes to the register marks is that I'm going to select one of them, I'm going to hold Shift on my keyboard, and then go select the other one. And what we want to make sure is that they are both aligned to each other. Now, because of the way that I created them, they are aligned. But I want you just to double check. And the way that you can tell that this is aligned is that you can see how the center of that register mark is aligned to that control point right there. Same thing on the other side, and that indicates that they are aligned to each other. So when that stuff lines up, it should work for you. Okay, so we've got that done. We are almost done. Just one last thing that we need to do, and that is our cut line. So our cut line, I'm going to create that using the line segment tool. And I'm going to come up here to the very top of the page. See how it says page right there? That's what I want. and I'm going to click, drag across, hold shift, and I just want to come across the variable. Now the thing is, when we look at the line that I just created, you know, it's crossed this variable and it's crossed this variable. Now currently it is black, or no, it's in registration color. I'm going to select it and I'm going to change it to white. All right, and that creates the first cut line. I'm going to zoom in just so, because I want you guys to see, like, it really needs to be exactly on the edge of the document, which it is, and that's very important. Okay, and then I'm just going to repeat that same exact thing down here at the bottom. I'm just looking for it to say page. There we go. Hold shift. Holding shift keeps it straight. That's called constraining in Illustrator. So, and then once I get past the variable, release on the mouse, then the keyboard, and I am good. So that is how to make a Dieline, basic kind of crash course on Dieline making. This is the Dieline that we are going to use on our first project, and that's going to be about it for right now. All right, thank you guys. Bye bye.